Hello, I am Marsha Ziegler. I'm the owner of Breath of Life Inspirations. Go to breathoflifeinspirations.com to check out my travel things that I have, travel giveaways, travel quotes I can do for you, and then I have Christian merchandise and books. So check that out. But I want to make a quick video. This should be pretty short on the difference between type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Believe it or not, even some people that have it say it wrong. So we're just gonna get clear. First, I wanna get out there. Okay. Diabetes, watching what we eat as diabetics does not make the diabetes go away. So if you say to someone, you shouldn't be eating that just because you know they're diabetic, that is so rude and is incorrect. We can eat that. It's just that our body does not naturally make the insulin needed, or does not make enough, and so it's not being used properly, and so that is what causes like the diabetes flare-ups and things. Okay, so let's talk about type 1 first. Type 1 diabetes is where the person is 100% insulin dependent. That means that their body may make some insulin, but it's to the point where they have to have insulin injections. That's what it's based on. Type 1 is where they have to have insulin injections 100% of the time. Like they are solely dependent on this artificial insulin that was created that has saved lives, of injecting that on a daily basis. Okay, that's what it is, all day, every day. To the point where also they've been tested in their blood, and they do have like these different antibodies in there that comes up on that test that shows like, okay, this person definitely is insulin dependent. That test helps determine it. That's it. They have to take insulin pretty much every single time they eat. Most of them are on insulin pumps where it injects insulin to them all day long. And then if not, then they're taking multiple shots of injecting insulin every single time they eat something. It can even be a small snack, but if that snack has sugar in it, they may need to take insulin. That's all. If you know somebody that has diabetes, when you say things like, oh, well, my grandma has it, or my uncle has it, or my sister or my cousin has it, so I know. No, you don't know. Unless you have it, you don't know. So don't say that. Okay? I'm just trying to help you out. Want to make you help somebody else have a better day, because it's so ignorant, and the people don't know that what they're saying is really ignorant. It's like they're saying, oh, you should just do this because my uncle had it and this is how it works. No, everybody's diabetes is different. We have our own doctors. Our doctors give us different things pertaining to us and how it notices how our body does on insulin with spikes in sugar. So for example, there's a certain range we should be in at all times. You don't want to go below this range, and you don't want to go above this range. Diabetics all day, we're trying to stay in that range. We don't want to go below, and we don't want to go too high. So we're taking insulin or taking some kind of pill form, metformin. They're taking something and watching what they eat and trying to exercise to maintain it. Because if our numbers go too low or too high, we can be in the hospital for a few days. And it also causes a lot of complications. So it'll cause complications where the person's foot, eventually if they hurt their foot may not heal normally like a regular person, and they may end up needing their foot amputated. It causes heart disease. There's so many complications that comes just because you're a diabetic. So the best way to try to fight that is to stay in this number range. Okay? If you do not have the disease, do not comment on it. It's the best advice I can give you, because people try their best, I'll say, to say certain things, but it doesn't help because they don't have it. All right, so back to what it is. So that was type 1. With type 2 diabetes, type 2 has been labeled that it can be controlled just by diet and exercise. Okay, so you got insulin over here, type 1, they got insulin dependent. Type 2, they may not be insulin dependent where they have to take insulin every single time they eat, but they're probably on a pill, metformin, that helps the insulin their body still makes, helps their body be sensitive to it. So I even deal with that where my body makes insulin, but my body is resistant to it. So it's as if it doesn't make it. My body doesn't recognize it. Basically, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do with insulin the way that a normal person body does. Okay. So with type 2, supposedly it's labeled with diet and exercise, you can control it. Well, the thing is, even with that, you still have to be on top of it all day, every day. The first thing most diabetics do when they wake up is check their insulin, check their sugar to see, are you in range? This numbers controls your day. Okay, so if I check in the morning and I'm like 110, you want to be within 80 to 140. Let's say I'm 110. Well, at 110, that's a decent number, but am I about to eat? If I am, I'm probably going to have to take some insulin for me. If a type 2, they probably need to go walking, exercise or something, try to get their numbers back down, because as soon as we eat breakfast, it's going to go up and it doesn't come back down like a normal person. Everybody, when they eat, their sugar rises. Ours, it'll stay there, and that sugar is in our bloodstream. It turns into acid. It's acidic. So you have had acid flowing through you. This is going to cause you to be in the hospital. You're going to have to go to the hospital. You're going to be admitted. You're going to be there for a few days. If you go back and watch my diabetic story, just go through my videos. I was in the hospital for 5 days on the insulin drip when I was first diagnosed. I didn't know I was diabetic. Okay? So, type 2, normally the textbook version, you can control it with your diet and your exercise. You only eat a certain amount of sugar per meal and you make sure you exercise. That's type 2. Type 1 is where it don't matter if you exercise. It don't matter if you eat right. Your numbers, I'll give you another example. I have the Dexcom, which is a continuous monitoring of my blood sugar, and my husband has an app where he can see what my numbers is too, the same way I can see it. So he called one morning. I'm still in bed, hadn't even got up yet. He called, he's like, hey, what did you just eat? Because your numbers just jumped up from the hundreds to the 200s. I'm like, really? Let me check. So I looked, I'm like, yeah, I did. I haven't ate anything. I literally have been in bed asleep. It was about 8 o'clock. It was a day where I was sleeping in. I didn't have to be anywhere early that morning. And it just went up on its own. So this is an example of where I had a family member recently tell me, well, just watch what you eat and your sugar will be okay. No, it's not centered around what I eat. It does what it wants to do. It's diabetes. Just like a person with high blood pressure. They may be taking their meds, they may be eliminating salts and watching what they eat, but they're still going to have some moments where their blood pressure spikes because they have high blood pressure. It's the fact that you have it. It's still, you do certain things to try to control it, but it's going to do what it want to do at some points because it is a disease. So say it with me. A person that's diabetic, they don't have to watch what they eat 100% of the time to control their diabetes. Get that out your head. We can be doing that and it still can be out of whack and out of range. It's called a flare-up. It's called a spike. So, one thing I want you to take away from this, type 1, insulin dependent. They have to take insulin injections multiple times a day to the point where most of them are on insulin pumps. Type 2, textbook version, should be able to control their numbers for the most part with just what they eat and what they exercise. So here, insulin all the time, diet, exercise. I am what's called a type 1.5. I'm in the middle. It's called a LADA, L-A-D-A. I was initially diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic initially, and after about a year or so of trying to maintain it with diet and exercise and metformin pills, my doctor ended up having to put me back on insulin. We saw that it wasn't working. And so then she did whatever they do to confirm that you're a LADA. I don't know, because they take blood every time I go, so I don't know what exactly, but she let me know that I am what is considered a type 1.5. I am insulin dependent and I have to do the diet and exercise. It's both. And then I still have days where my numbers is out of whack. So I am on an insulin pump. I use the Omnipod because I wanted to have a cordless pump. It gives me insulin continuously all day long. I also am on a Dexcom, which is a continuous monitoring. It tells me what my blood sugar number is all day long. So with it telling me that all day long, I can see trends where I was here and then the numbers jumped up or the numbers shot down. I can see all of the trends because it's continuously taking my blood sugar. It tells me every 5 minutes what my blood sugar is. And then I can compare that to what my pump is showing and make sure that I'm getting enough insulin all day long. So it's supposed to keep me level, my numbers level throughout the day. And even with that, I still have days where it spikes up. And once it spikes up and the sugar is high, you have fatigue, very bad fatigue, blurred vision off and on, frequent urination, peeing all day long, super thirsty and dehydrated, drinking gallons of water, gallons of things, and running right to the restroom to pee right back out. It literally goes in and comes right back out. As soon as you swallow, it's coming right back out because your body's breaking down. So that's some of the symptoms of when our numbers are not in that range I mentioned with the diabetes. The number one thing I can ask of you, if you watch this video, is to not give certain statements to people that are diabetic. Everyone has diabetes is different. So to eliminate them being frustrated, just watch what you say. Another thing is, if you really want to know, get educated on it. Most people don't care to get educated on something they don't have. But if you have a family member or friend, the best thing you can do for them is to educate yourself or ask them questions on how it works for them and what is it like with them, for them and things, and so you can understand the journey they're on. And another thing, it never goes away. I myself even thought at some points that I had got myself off it because I had been so strict on the diet and exercise, and then it was like, oh, I don't need it, the insulin, I don't need and it comes right back because it doesn't go away. You can't exercise your way out of these diabetes. You can't eat a certain meal your way out of the diabetes. It's always there. You're just controlling it more. And I had to learn that the hard way. It was such a devastation when I realized that this isn't something, as an overcomer, as a fighter, when you have issues, you work to do the work that's needed to overcome it and get over it. And the devastation when I realized it don't matter if I'm eating right all day, every day. It don't matter if I'm exercising. It don't matter if I'm taking my insulin on time every day. I still have diabetes and it can flare up when it wants to. So you do the work and try to prevent it, but that doesn't stop it, okay? Type 1, insulin all the time. Type 2, more so diet, exercise. In the middle, which is me, 1.5, I'm in the middle of the type 1 and the type 2. In the middle is me, which is 1.5. which means I have both of them. I am insulin dependent and I have to do diet and exercise. Okay? It is what it is. Don't feel sorry for nobody. Years ago, getting diabetes was a death sentence because insulin didn't exist. If someone had got diabetes, they would die within a few months. Do your research, it's true. They would die within a few months. So I have been diabetic. Next month will be 5 years. 5 years since I was diagnosed. And so just know it's a journey. Talk to diabetics out there. Just know from what we have learned, there's nothing we've done, nothing we did that caused this to be one of our conditions. This is something that we have, and now we're just maintaining and moving and adjusting and living our life so that it doesn't overtake us, so that we can maintain ourselves. Okay, I hope something I said in this video was helpful. And guys, like I said, you can go to breathoflifeinspirations.com to check me out. You can message me here and I will see it. And you guys have a great day.